Okay, as you can see from the video, the title, it's going to be a slightly different one for me today, and I might do all three of the more popular Kilians with the flankers, although I don't have the Love Don't Be Shy or Fraiche, so maybe, and I need to do my actual Instagram post on that first. Anyway, I thought I'd start with Good Girl Gone Bad. Now this again is one of the most popular ones, and I have the original there. I'm going to use a sample. I have the extreme, which you can see I have used a lot of, so I am quite familiar with all these fragrances and the Eau Fraiche. And before anyone has some sort of stroke, yes, you can test things from samples because that's what samples are. They're testers, so you get an idea of the fragrance and whether you want it or not. And yeah, as you can see, used a lot of that, and trust me, you don't need a lot. Anyway, that's by the by. So what I'm going to do is do one of these day in the life kind of things that I do, so, and then kind of wear them all for a day, tell you the differences and all that jazz. So we'll start with the original, and we'll put that one on that hand. Right, as you can see, sprayed first time. I've obviously been wearing this. Right, that chance to kind of calm down. I mean, what I can tell you, what you get from the kind of the start of this is it's a lot of osmanthus. So even a little bit, I wouldn't say coconutty, but it does have that kind of vibe to it. There's just lots of white florals. There is a hint of orange blossom because orange blossom runs through a lot of the more narcotic ones. And there's a sweetness maybe from the tuberose in the orange blossom, and straight away with this again you get the musks come through for me anyway. So that's the original, and after the original came the extreme. Now let's spray the extreme here. Okay, and straight away from the extreme, because it's poof, it is extreme, you get that more kind of toffee note that it's famous for. You don't get the osmanthus, and the florals aren't as sharp. Yeah, it's more. It obviously they develop well. I'll do it stage by stage, but it's more famous for the lactonic kind of feel, the extreme, and straight away it is more of a kind of toffee, sort of darker one. Okay, and the Eau Fraiche, which as you can see, no spoilers, is my favourite. It's me owning a bottle. Right. And the first kind of thing you get with the Eau Fraiche, again, this is just as strong. Don't go on their names by how strong they are. The Eau Fraiche, it's you get that sort of blue aquatic breeze feel, and you don't get the osmanthus as much. I definitely get a hint of osmanthus, although the osmanthus has been taken out of this one. There's definitely that kind of hint in the opening to remind you of what it's a flanker of, and then you get the jasmine and the kind of more aquatic notes. So what I'll do is I'll come back at different stages during the day and talk about them. So that's basically the opening, and yeah, right. Okay, so about 45 minutes into it now, and obviously from the openings they've changed a lot more. With the original, you get it's very distinctive. It's very if you've ever smelled it, you can smell it everywhere, and they're all very strong, by the way. That's the other thing. You get a bit more of the rose comes in, but it's still that osmanthus. That's the star. A little bit more musky. It's very smooth now. It's not as in the opening. It's abrasive isn't the right word, but it's in your face. But now it's smoothed out much more. Now the extreme is still very toffee like, and you do get the original DNA, but it's a little more buried under the sweeter, more gourmand notes. The osmanthus is there, and you get that kind of smooth muskiness, but more in like an after smell. But it's very much the toffee, and it's very, very strong. I think the weird thing about the extreme is I liked it, but it was too much. It was too strong, too rich, for my taste. But I think a lot of people would love this one, especially with that original DNA in it. And maybe what you get in that one, shining a bit more than the osmanthus, I'm not entirely 100% sure, I'll have to check, is rose. There's a certain sort of pink sweetness in it. And the eau fraiche, oh, it's not softer, but it's airier, if you get what I mean. It's much more, the jasmine, the tuberose, it's not salty, but it is like that kind of almost salty aquatic breeze. And again, the musks, but again, they're all like, I am literally surrounded in a cloud of good girl gone bad. And yeah, they're still going strongly. So I'll come back a bit later, and then I'll do a kind of overall look at it rather than come back throughout the day pointlessly. Now then, we're talking 9, maybe even 10 hours into it. They're going strong. They're still, in fact, all three of them still pop off me, really. I'm still surrounded in that good girl gone bad cloud. Now, basically, this is now the original is dried down. It's smooth. It's musky. Still got the osmanthus going quite strongly, and it's still much the same. It hasn't changed that much. It's still very nice. The eau fraiche is it's not a million miles away from the original now. The jasmine, it's still quite a kind of soft, beautiful, aquatic, fresher, but by no means less potent version. And oh yeah, the extreme is still very much there, and you can still smell the original, but it's the toffee that's kind of still dominating. And the toffee's got a lot darker. It's much more like a not burnt toffee, but it's getting that way. And now when it's far dry down, I do like it, but again, it's just a bit too much. It's just a bit too sweet for me. So that's all three of them after this time. And as you've got to the end, they are not the same. You can still tell the differences in them. So just to wrap up, my quick overview of the three of them. For me, it's the eau fraiche, because I like that kind of that aquatic breezy touch it's got in it. And it's if you find the original Good Girl Gone Bad just too much, with the osmanthus being a bit, osmanthus is quite for me anyway, a note I have to be in the mood for. And there's osmanthus, there's jasmine. You do still get a little bit of hints of sweetness from the rose, and to be quite honest, there's a little bit of a kind of tea feel to it now. No, it's not like tea, but you know what I mean, like a cup of black tea with sugar mixed in there, and I've never really noticed that, but I suppose after 10 hours we're not constantly sniffing away. And the extreme, yeah, it's still very sticky sweet, and but the point of the video is, could you own all three of these? You most certainly could. The most similar two are the eau fraiche and the original, but I think taking the osmanthus out of the eau fraiche was a good move for this version. And like I say, it's more airy, breezy, and easy to wear. It's more in the summer, whereas I say the original Good Girl Gone Bad to me is very much a going out, giving it some big cardboard box, etc. kind of thing, because it's very loud. It's also very sophisticated. I don't say it's a going out one because it's one of them sweet in your face ones, but it's just one that really gets you noticed. The Extreme is a brilliant take on it, and you do get a lot of the original DNA in it. But I think the Extreme one is very much for the cold weather, and it's very, very sweet. To me, it's very sweet, and again, it does have the original DNA in it, which gives it a little bit of a balance. But it can get too much, and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's not one I've gone out to look to buy, because I'm not sure. Sometimes the original DNA with the lactonic toffee caramel kind of thing always goes, but that's on me personally. So you could, if you're a fan, easily own all three. And I think all three are fantastic fragrances. I mean, there's a reason again why the original is one of the best sellers. It's fantastic. But yeah, as far as I don't talk about longevity and all that stuff, because that's all so subjective and it's all your skin, isn't it? But on me, they all last perfectly, fantastically, to be honest. And just because they've got different, like Good Girl Gone Bad's a normal one, they're all eau de parfums, is what I'm trying to say, and they all are as potent as each other, just in different ways. One's got more of a fresher feel, one's got more of a rah-rah in your face feel, and one's sweeter. So could you own all three? Yes. Are all three brilliant? For me, I like them all, but I'm glad I own the one I own. Like you've seen, I've got quite a bit of a Good Girl Gone Bad, the original. I've also got a clone. I don't like talking about clones on this version, an inspired version. That actually is a lot more toned down, that I enjoy. But they're both are as good. It's not the same. It's not an exact copy. It's an inspired, isn't it? And it just, with it being a little more toned down, a little smoother and easier, I do. But do I prefer it? I like it. I like it a lot. But I do like all three, and I think all three are fantastic fragrances. So that was the first in the kind of series of these different flankers to the Kilian line. It's a bit waffly, but as it always is. Right, thanks folks.